I'm Debbie Shelton with Manassas City Public Schools Benefits Office. In this presentation, I will be discussing workers' compensation, FMLA, leave, and employee self-service, or ESS. Workers' compensation. If you get hurt or ill while at work, please contact your company nurse hotline at 1-888-770-0925. You may get first aid from your nurse at your location, and also make sure your supervisor is aware of the situation. You will be provided with a list of doctors from the panel of physicians if you need to seek medical treatment. One of the places you can go is the Patient First on Liberia Avenue in Manassas. I will send you a letter and related documents for the workers' compensation claim, and keep open communication with you and our coverage under the VACORP program for workers' compensation. Family and Medical Leave Act is a federal law that requires employers to provide up to 12 work weeks or 60 work days of job-protected benefit continued leave for a serious health condition for yourself or a family member, or the birth, adoption, or foster care placement of children. A serious health condition is an illness, injury, impairment, physical or mental condition that involves either inpatient care or continuing treatment. If it is for a family member, it must be a parent, spouse, or a child under 18 unless the child is disabled. In order to be eligible for FMLA, an employee must have been employed with Manassas City Schools for 12 months and have worked 1,250 hours. Leave does not count in the hours worked. Family and Medical Leave Act is a federal law that requires What if an employee is not eligible for FMLA? An employee with a serious illness or injury that has not been with Manassas City for a year yet may take up to 30 days of unpaid leave if necessary. A non-probationary employee can request in writing a leave of absence for up to 1 year after they've exhausted their paid leave. Manassas City Public Schools offers different types of leave for their employees. For sick leave, there is sick family leave, sick personal leave, and sick bereavement leave. We also have personal leave. For 12-month employees, there is annual leave. Different types of special leave include civil leave, professional development, school activity, and military leave. Staff attendance and leave. Satisfactory attendance is a minimum expectation for all employees because every day counts. Employee leave is based on the fiscal year of July 1st through June 30th. It is advanced to each employee at the beginning of the year in July. It's recorded in the payroll system a pay period behind. Leave is credited, reported, and used on the quarter-of-hour basis every 15 minutes and is therefore rounded to the nearest quarter hour. Leave is prorated for any employee who is employed for less than the full school year. Excessive use of leave. The employee's leave will be evaluated at mid-year and at the end of the year. If an employee has missed 5 or more sick leave days during a semester and is not already currently on FMLA, the supervisor may hold a conference with the employee to find out the cause and to emphasize that the attendance must improve or it may affect their performance appraisal. The conference may be documented as part of the employee's division personnel file. The sick leave regulation states that sick leave may be used for a personal medical situation, a family medical situation for an immediate family member, and medical appointments that cannot be scheduled outside of working hours. The sick leave hours provided by each contract position. Every employee will earn the equivalent of 1 day of sick leave per month. For full-time employees, that is equivalent to 8 hours per month. For example, a 12-month employee would have 96 hours of sick leave for the year. For licensed teachers that are 10-month employees, they will have 80 hours total of sick leave for the year. For sick bereavement leave, an employee may use up to 5 days total for the death of a person in their immediate family. The regulation states who the immediate family members are considered. Personal or annual leave may be used if sick leave is not available or after they have exhausted their sick leave days. Employees may also request the use of leave without pay for the additional bereavement days for up to the total of 5 days necessary. How to use sick leave. Notify your principal or supervisor in advance whenever possible, but no later than the beginning of that day. Advise them of your expected return to work date and make sure the absences are entered into absence management. If you have trouble with absence management, please contact the campus user at your work location as soon as possible and they can assist you. Transfer of sick leave is allowed from another accredited public school division for up to 90 days of sick leave. It must be certified by the prior employer, and the employee must not have received payment for those sick leave days. If an employee needs to miss 4 or more consecutive days for personal or sick leave, then the employee would have to provide a physician certificate to their assistant principal, or director to verify the illness or incapacity of themselves or a family member. The certificate must include the employee's name, when they were seen by the medical professional, and the identified time period in which the employee was not able to work because they were caring for themselves or a family member during the sick leave time. If you have to take sick leave during a certain blackout period, then a meeting may occur with you and your assistant principal, or department director. If you have to use family sick or personal leave before or after a local, state, or national holiday, before or after scheduled breaks, during SOL testing at the location where you work, professional development days, or other critical days as identified by the superintendent. You may be requested to submit a physician certificate to verify illness or incapacity, and it would have to include your employee name, the date of the appointment, and when you were not able to return to work. Failure to provide a certification may result in disciplinary action. Who is eligible for personal leave? Full-time employees with less than a 12-month contract are advanced up to 3 days, which is 24 hours per year, depending on your date of hire. Full-time employees with 12-month contracts are advanced up to 16 hours or 2 days of personal leave, depending on date of hire. All employees follow the same guidelines for the use of personal leave. Personal leave is provided to allow employees to conduct personal and business matters. It may be taken during the school year under the following conditions: for emergencies at any time, or with a minimum of 5 days notice to their supervisor or principal. Requests for personal leave will not be approved unless there are extenuating circumstances during these time periods: the first 10 instructional days of the school year, the last 10 days of instruction for the school year, professional development and teacher work days, the day before or after a local, state, or national holiday or a scheduled school break, during SOL testing at their employee site, or other critical days as designated by the superintendent or designee. In order to request personal leave during the restricted time period, the employee will need to provide a written detailed statement that identifies the extenuating reasons that justify the request. First to your supervisor, who will then approve or deny it, and then to the Executive Director of Human Resources at least 30 days prior to the date the requested personal leave would begin. The final confirmation is subject to the superintendent's approval. Unused personal leave on June 30th will roll into sick leave on July 1st. Annual leave is for 12-month employees only. Maximum number of annual leave hours, which may be carried over from one contracted year to the next, is 360 hours. Annual leave is advanced on July 1st. The number of annual leave hours per year for each 12-month employee is based on their years of service. The longer you work for Manassas City Schools, the more annual leave hours you will earn each year, up to 11 years, which is 200 hours. Upon approval of your supervisor, employees may be granted professional leave without loss of pay to participate in professional development activities. During the month of May, this type of leave may be limited. School activity leave is a special type of paid leave that's used when an employee is participating in a school division activity, for example, a field trip. The absence and need for a substitute must be entered into absence management. Civil leave is for an employee who is called to jury duty or subpoenaed as a witness. Employees who are called to jury duty, job-related legal proceedings or administrative hearings, or subpoenaed to testify in the court of law shall be approved with pay for the civil leave. The employee does have the option to reimburse the division the amount of money received from the court serving on jury duty up to the amount of school board pay. Documentation will be required to have civil leave approved for the employee. Military leave is a special type of leave for employees who are members of the Organized Reserve Forces of the Armed Services of the United States, U.S. National Guard, U.S. Navy Militia, or when called by the governor, and they are entitled to leave of absence without loss of seniority. Paid leave of absences for federally funded training shall not exceed 15 work days per federal fiscal year. Employee self-service, or ESS. You can view your home address and telephone number and email address. You will see your bi-monthly pay statements. You will get information on direct deposit and advice, and as well as your leave balances. Please note that leave balances are not always current because they tend to run one pay period behind. You can see your current federal W-4 and state tax withholding information. You can save and print your direct deposit pay stubs here. You can use the payroll simulator to see how deductions and withholding changes would affect your pay, and you can print your W-4 statement. How do you log into ESS, or Employee Self-Service? You go to the Manassas City Public Schools homepage. Click on My MCPS. Sign in with your username and password. Click on the Employee Self-Service link and open up the ESS page. You will then be able to click the Login on the upper right-hand side of that page. How to log into ESS once you are on the page. Your username is the first initial of your last name, followed by the first initial of your first name, and then your MCPS employee ID number. For example, Mr. Osborne Eagle, ID number 12345, with a social security number of 123456789. His user ID or username is EO12345, and the default password is 6789. The first time you log in, your password should be the last 4 digits of your social security number. Then click on the Login button to proceed. After you're done with employee self-service, make sure that you do log out afterwards. Always log out of employee self-service when not in use. Please note that as a new employee, you will not have access to ESS until after you've received your first paycheck. If you have any additional benefit or leave questions, please contact Megan Mills, Benefits Administrator, in the office at 571-377-6040 or by email at mmills@mcpsva.org. Or you may contact myself, Deborah Shelton, Benefits Specialist, via email at dshelton@mcpsva.org, or by phone in the office at 571-377-6031. If you need to return forms, please scan and email them to us. You may also use our secure fax number, 571-316-1542. Thank you.